Most people never live the life they want, not because they lack talent, not because they lack opportunity, but because they lack courage. This isn't about being fearless. It's about being bold enough to face your fear and keep going anyway. This is your moment. This is your time. This is the power of courage. If this lit a fire in your soul, don't keep it to yourself. Backhand index pointing right, share this with someone who needs the courage to take their first step. Speech balloon, drop a comment. I choose courage. Directed, hit subscribe, smash that like button, and remember, you don't need permission to be great. You just need the courage to begin. They don't tell you this enough. Courage doesn't start when you're strong. It starts when you're scared, when your legs shake, when your hands sweat, when everything inside you screams, run, but instead you stay. That's courage. See, people think courage is loud. Courage is a warrior shouting on the battlefield. Courage is a superhero flying through fire. But the truth is, courage is quiet. Courage is a whisper in your mind saying, do it anyway, even when you're afraid, even when you're unsure, even when you've failed 10 times already. Because fear is real. But courage? Courage is what makes you stand in spite of it. They laughed at you. They told you you weren't good enough. They counted you out before you ever stepped in the ring. And for a while, maybe they were right. You didn't believe in yourself either. You played small. You hid your light. You let other people define what you could be. But something changed. One day you woke up and said, I'm tired of being afraid. And that was the beginning. The beginning of you walking into your power. The beginning of you facing what you once ran from. The beginning of courage being louder than fear. Courage is not a gift. It's a decision. It's not something you're born with. It's something you build. Every time you show up. Every time you speak up. Every time you fall down and stand back up. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the mastery of it. You want to change your life? Then you better get uncomfortable. Because courage only shows up when things are hard. You want to grow? You better stop playing it safe. Because greatness never lived in the comfort zone. You want to win? Then walk straight through the fire. Real courage is doing the thing that scares the hell out of you, and doing it anyway. They told you to be realistic, to tone it down, to stop dreaming so big. They weren't trying to protect you. They were trying to control you, because people who gave up on themselves can't stand the sight of someone still fighting. But you were born to fight, born to rise, born to lead. And deep down, you've always known it. That's why you fell out of place. That's why you couldn't settle. That's why even when things were falling apart, something inside you kept whispering, you were meant for more. You don't need them to believe in you. You don't need their approval. You don't need permission to be great. What you need is courage. The courage to trust yourself. The courage to walk alone. The courage to start over. The courage to say no. The courage to be seen. The courage to speak up. The courage to chase that dream like your life depends on it. Because it does. Let me ask you something. What would you do if you weren't afraid? Would you quit that job you hate? Would you start that business? Would you leave the toxic relationship? Would you move to a new city? Would you finally say, this is my time? Fear has stolen enough from you. Now it's time to take it back. Not with excuses, not with delay, but with courage. Because courage changes everything. Courage wakes the lion inside you. Courage breaks the chains that held your family for generations. Courage turns the timid into warriors, the doubters into believers, the scared into unstoppable legends. Your life, your dream, your destiny is waiting on one thing, your courage. Every day you wake up, there's a war waiting for you. And it's not out there. It's not your job. It's not in your past. It's not even in the people who doubt you. The real war is inside. That voice that says, you're not good enough. You'll fail again. You're too old. You're too broken. You're too late. You hear it every day. But here's the truth. That voice is a liar. And courage is a weapon that shuts it down. Courage is waking up and saying, not today. Not today, fear. Not today, insecurity. Not today, doubt. Because I've got a mission. I've got a future. And I'm not about to let the enemy inside my own mind talk me out of my greatness. You see, most people lose the battle before they even fight, because they surrender to fear and silence. They don't show up. They don't speak up. They don't try. They don't take risks. They just shrink. But you were not built to shrink. You were not built to fade. You were built for war. There's a fire in you, buried under the pain, buried under the doubt, buried under years of silence. But it's there. That fire is called courage. And once you ignite it, you become unstoppable. But make no mistake, courage doesn't feel good at first. It feels like walking into a storm with no umbrella. It feels like standing on a stage with shaking knees. It feels like launching something and getting zero support. It feels like being misunderstood, mocked, rejected. But you do it anyway, because on the other side of fear is freedom. You think Kobe Bryant didn't feel fear? You think Muhammad Ali didn't have doubt? You think the legends you worship were born without fear? No, they were born with the same fear you have, the same doubts, the same pain, but they chose courage anyway. Every day, every rep, every battle. You want to know how you win this war? You fight, even when your hands shake, even when the odds are stacked, even when nobody claps. You stand up and you fight, because courage is not about comfort. It's about commitment. You commit to the vision, no matter how dark it gets. And let me be real with you. The darkness will come. You'll lose people. You'll fail. You'll fall. You'll question yourself. You'll wonder if it's all worth it. But if you've got courage, you'll get back up. Every single time. The world doesn't need more perfect people. It needs more brave people. People willing to walk through pain. People willing to stand for something. People willing to say, this is who I am. And I'm not hiding anymore. That's real power. That's real freedom. That's the power of courage. You've already come this far. You've survived things that were meant to break you. You've carried pain that others can't even imagine. And you're still standing. You think that's a weakness? That's courage in action. Courage is not in how loud you roar. It's in how many times you refuse to stay down. So now ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped hiding? What would happen if I showed the world my truth? What would happen if I chose courage over comfort every single day? Because that choice, that one decision, is the difference between regret and greatness. You were not born to play small. You were not born to fit in. You were not born to be average. You were born to rise. And rise you will. But only if you have the courage to begin. You want to know where real courage comes from? It doesn't come from applause. It doesn't come from people hyping you up. It doesn't come from easy victories. Courage is built in the fire. It's built in the moments no one sees. When you cry behind closed doors. When you push through the pain. When everything in your life is falling apart, but you keep showing up. That's where courage lives. In the chaos, in the heat, in the pressure. Because pressure doesn't break diamonds. It forms them. You've been through hell. People walked out. Life hit you. Dreams shattered. And yet you're still here? Let me tell you something. That's courage. Not the fake stuff people post online. Not the filtered version of success. Real courage is surviving a storm with no umbrella. And still smiling at the sunrise the next day. You see, everyone wants a crown. But nobody wants to climb. They want the glory. But they don't want the grind. But courage lives in the grind. It lives in 5 a.m. wake-ups. On lonely nights. In silence and sweat and sacrifice. And most importantly, courage lives in the decision to keep going when quitting would be easier. Every single successful person you admire, they didn't get there because they were fearless. They got there because they had something bigger than fear. Conviction. You gotta want it more than you're afraid of it. More than you're afraid of failing. More than you're afraid of looking stupid. More than you're afraid of starting over. And that takes real courage. Courage is leaving what's familiar to chase what's possible. It's saying, I refuse to stay stuck. It's breaking generational curses with your bare hands. It's going left when everyone else goes right. It's the decision to bet on yourself. Every day, even when the odds are ugly. Let me ask you this. Are you playing to win? Or are you just trying not to lose? Because the people with courage, they play full out. They take risks. They speak their truth. They walk into rooms they don't feel qualified to be in. And they own the space anyway. That's power. That's presence. That's courage in motion. You've got dreams, big ones. But those dreams will never be reached. If you're too scared to look foolish, do you want a different life? You've got to walk through the fear of embarrassment, of failure, of isolation, of judgment. Because on the other side of all that, it is freedom. It is a legacy. Is you unchained. You've been caged by fear long enough. Caged by opinions. Caged by trauma. Caged by insecurity. But you've outgrown the cage. And now it's time to break it. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Now. Right here. Right now. With courage. Because courage is a feeling. It's a choice. Every time you speak up, every time you take a risk, every time you refuse to settle, you are choosing courage. And every time you choose courage, you choose freedom. Courage is the beginning of everything. Without it, you'll always stay stuck. With it, nothing can hold you back. So let the world doubt you. Let the pain come. Let the storms rage. You've been forged in fire. Now it's time to rise. Let's stop pretending. Let's stop pretending we have time. Let's stop pretending we're waiting for the right moment. Let's stop lying to ourselves, telling ourselves we're not ready. Because here's the truth. You'll never feel fully ready. You'll never be fearless. You'll never have all the answers. And that's okay. Because courage isn't about being ready. Courage is about showing up anyway. You're not too old. You're not too late. You're not too broken. Those are lies. Lies the world told you. Lies your past told you. Lies your fear told you. But the truth? You've got everything you need. Right now, you've got the scars. You've got the strength. You've got the voice. You've got the fire. And that's enough. Let me ask you something dangerous. What if you stop waiting? What if you stop dimming your light? What if you stop asking for permission? What if today, right now, you chose courage? What would your life look like a year from now? If you made every decision with courage instead of fear, let that question burn in you, because it will change everything. You keep waiting for a sign? This is your sign. You keep waiting for someone to believe in you? Believe in yourself. You keep waiting for the fear to go away? Walk through it. You keep waiting to feel strong? Be strong anyway. You keep waiting for the world to change? You were born to change the world. Courage doesn't come wrapped in comfort. It comes wrapped in resistance, in sweat, in failure, in growth. And that's why most people never step into their purpose. Because courage is expensive, and fear is free. But freedom, legacy, impact, they all cost something. And courage is the price. You want something you've never had? You've got to become someone you've never been. And that's the hard part. That's where most people stop. Right at the edge. Right at the moment where courage is needed most. They turn back, but you won't, because now you know. The pain of growth is temporary, but the pain of regret, that lasts forever. The truth is, there's a version of you waiting to be born, a version of you who speaks boldly, who walks with power, who fights with heart, who doesn't shrink, who doesn't beg, who doesn't hide. And you'll never meet that version until you step through the door of fear with courage as your key. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to stand up. You're going to shake off the doubt. You're going to look your fear in the face and say, I'm coming anyway. You're going to write the book, launch the business, take the risk, leave what's toxic, build what's meaningful, protect your energy, speak your truth, and walk like you belong in every room you enter, because you do. Let the fear be loud. You be louder. Let the doubt exist. You show up anyway. Let the pain sting. You use it as fuel. Because the people with courage don't wait for the fire to go away. They walk through it. And when the smoke clears, they're still standing. Stronger, wiser, unstoppable. You are not average. You were never meant to be. That voice in your head telling you, this isn't it. It's right. You are more than your job, more than your past, more than your trauma, more than your fear. You are a force. You are a storm. You are a revolution wrapped in skin. And courage? Courage is a spark that sets it all on fire. So stand up, not tomorrow, not someday, right now, because this is your moment. This is your time. This is the beginning of everything you were born to be. And it all starts with one decision. Choose courage.